Hey folks, it's Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health, checking in as promised for day 8 of the 21-day Paleo Cleanse. Not much to report, doing well, energy's good, feeling fine. Fridays are an off day for me where I'm doing, odds and ends for the office and the practice. So a little more unstructured, which brings up one concept that we've talked before about cravings and hunger, but something that feeds into that is eating for boredom. So a lot of us eat, simply put, because we're bored and there's not much else to do. And so it's like, hey, food sounds like a good thing. It's tasty. It's sensual, like something of the senses, right? And it's something to do. Or I think you've all had the experience of there's not much to do and you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs and waiting for the next meal. So I find that hunger can be more of an issue when schedules are erratic or we don't have much to do. For example, earlier in the week when I'm busy going from patient to patient to patient and kind of action mode, I'm not that hungry because there's a lot going on. Today, where things are a little more unstructured, I find myself dealing with a little bit more hunger. So it's just a lesson to say that sometimes when we're hungry, we're simply bored, and one of the remedies is to go and get involved in something interesting to take our mind off eating. Because again, there's real hunger, which is a signal from your body that you need nutrients and you need energy. And then there's all the kinds of hunger that we have as well in our society, like those cravings and boredom and thirst and some of these other issues that we can tackle. Another thing that I found with the shakes here is shifting my eating schedule a little bit. So I'm someone who doesn't have a lot of an appetite first thing in the morning. I know some people get up and they want or need to eat right away. Others of us feel like, I could eat, but I'm really not that hungry. Now, when I eat a whole foods, real food diet, I do have breakfast, early on in the morning because it's before heading off to work and helping kids get ready for school and doing all of those other things. So there's a real window when I can eat, and that's usually, near first thing in the morning. Now, because the shakes don't require any preparation, I find that I can push that back a little bit. So instead of eating at say 7 or 8 o'clock, I can push that back till 10 o'clock, which helps because I find that if I have my shake, my breakfast, and then my lunch shake early in the morning, I have this big swath for the rest of the day where hunger can be more of an issue. So pushing those meals back, I found for me is helpful. So just a tip if you're doing this, something you might want to consider as well. So I wanted to take a moment now and talk about the meal. So, as everyone knows, this plan consists of a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then a meal for dinner. Or rather, one meal a day, because that meal could be lunchtime or even breakfast. It just depends where you want to put it. For most of us here in the States, at least with the, normal job, dinner is the time that we get to spend with family or the most social meal of the day. So it makes sense to save that whole foods meal for the end of the day. So one of the questions we get is, what should I eat for that meal? And tomorrow we're going to talk about elimination diets and whether elimination should play any part in the 21-day detox. But today we're just going to go over some general guidelines. So the most general guideline is, make that meal a whole foods-based meal. So no matter what your eating persuasion is, whether it's a paleo, whether it's vegetarian or Mediterranean or just kind of generally whole foods, we want to eliminate the junk, right? The things with added sugars, white processed refined flours, and extra vegetable oils like corn, cottonseed, canola, and vegetable oil, right? That's going to take away many of the things, cakes and our cookies and our pastries, all of those kind of things. And we want to focus on a whole foods diet. Now, I like a paleo template, which is basically built around having a protein source. Now, in the little booklet here that comes with the guide, you're going to see they're recommending things like organic chicken, turkey, lamb, grass-fed beef, cold water fish, organic eggs, and organic legumes if you tolerate them. Right? And I think that's a good solid base for the plate. Then you're looking at your fat choices, and here in this they're recommending things like flaxseed and walnut, olive oil, hemp seed oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, butter, organic butter, ghee, and coconut oil. And that's a good solid base for people. Of course, if you have a specific restriction, then you should do that. So if you need a lower carb diet, you're going to be less on the legumes, you're going to be less on the fruits that we're going to talk about in a second, and the high starch vegetables like potatoes and things like that. If you're on a ketogenic diet, obviously that's going to have its piece. If you're vegetarian, then some of the meat protein sources are not going to be on the menu for you. Then we're looking at fruits, berries, and low glycemic fruits and moderate glycemic fruits they mention, like cherries and pears and melons and plums and prunes and kiwis and tangerines and things like that. For me, I would say, unless you have a need to avoid fruits or high glycemic fruits, I would say just eat the fruit. Don't worry too much about it. Beverages like teas, water, vegetable juices. Veggies are pretty much unlimited. And then some condiments and snacks as well. So look, we're looking for a paleo template. And I would tell most people, unless you're doing an elimination, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow, just focus on whole, real foods. If you can do that, you're pretty much set. Make it organic as much as possible. So I understand the cost. It's not always something that everyone can afford to have everything organic. But certainly, if you haven't, go check out the Dirty Dozen from the Environmental Working Group. That's EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org. Check out their Dirty Dozen. And those are the vegetables and fruits that you're either going to, need to get organic or simply avoid if you can't afford it. Pick some of the ones that are on their clean 15 list, the fruits and vegetables that have the lowest amount of pesticides and herbicides and other sprays on them. All right, folks, tomorrow we'll check in with elimination diet. So bottom line is, look, the booklet here gives you some suggestions. I think that's a great starting place. For me, if you don't have any special requirements, I would just say focus on food that's easy to prepare, that you find tasty, and that is whole foods. Minimizing that intake of sugars and flours and vegetable oil, and you're 80 to 90% of the way there. Tomorrow we'll talk about the elimination diet. And there we go. Day 8 is in the bag for me. All right, folks, at Aspire Natural Health, we are experts at treating gut problems, autoimmune diseases, and other hard-to-treat cases. If that's you or someone you know, please feel welcome to contact us. Until then, I will check in tomorrow at day 9. Take care, folks. Oh, no, tipped it over. All right, take care, folks.